Alrighty, today we're slowing it down going into the Atrophy 4 event, playing some Yuumi Control. Now, not in the traditional sense, we're playing the Phantasm City, which is a slightly different variant of the deck, of course. We will be playing regular Yuumi Control. I only finished the deck recently and have been playing and testing with it, but the Phantasm City is what we're going to be talking about today. Super free to play friendly deck, lots of control, lots of really sort of impactful cards, and extremely accessible to everybody, so that's why we want to show it off. It all centers around your field spell, being able to constantly search your deck for trap cards that you can use during your opponent's turn, infinitely summoning 2000 attack and defense monsters and tokens to your field without relent, as well as abusing some of the big and powerful trap cards and spell cards of the meta. So yeah, absolutely, it's a ton of fun. It is really effective. It does struggle in certain matchups, so it does have its moments, but we're going to be talking about that towards the end when we're actually doing a deck profile. But for now, we're going to show off a couple of games, show you how it works, get a sort of feel for the deck. The games are a little bit longer, so we're not going to have quite as many, but again, watch the replays. The deck is super straightforward. If you've ever played any... Realistically, if you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh!, you'll get this deck. It's super straightforward. I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about it right now. We'll be doing a deck profile at the end, but for now, if it's your first time on the channel, or maybe you've been around before and haven't subscribed for whatever reason, I would implore you to do so. You know, it only helps me, helps you see what you want to be seeing, helps me see that people want to see this sort of thing going forward, or if you don't want to see this and have any suggestions for what you would like to see, that's why the comment section is there. Throw them down below, I get around to everybody, and let's get into the gameplay. Already getting into game 1 here, we are unfortunately going second, up against Cynet Mining here, which is fairly interesting. Salamangreys here making their debut. Gazelle coming out to the field, Gazelle sending Roar from the deck to the graveyard, so now they're going to summon out their Baylynx. Now that trap card is called Roar, yes it is, yep. Baylynx is going to search their deck, as well as trigger off their Parallel Exceed. So this guy basically has everything, right? He's going nuts. He's going to grab himself the field spell. His Parallel Exceed's going to grab another Parallel Exceed from the deck. Now he's going to be able to link off into Splash Mage. Splash Mage, of course, having the ability to revive his Gazelle yet again, bringing it back for linking off into Decode Talker Heat Soul. Now, it's interesting that he didn't go directly into the Transcode, first of all, but I guess he just wasn't favoring using up that much resources. Fair enough. So he's going to draw one off of his Heat Soul, and he's also got the Gazelle and a set card. Now, what is also possible is this face down card could be a Salamangreat spell or trap card requiring you to control one on the field. So we do need to bear in mind that possibility. We're going to activate our Phantasm City. He is going to activate his Heat Soul, drawing an additional card. That is fine. +2 Pot of Greed off the Decode Talker. We're going to set 3, activate the card of the Maze, normal summon the Megalo Smasher X, grabbing the Spiral Battle from the deck, triggering it right away because our hand is going to get discarded at the end of this turn. We're going to take out the Gazelle next. Now, we do unfortunately get hit with Evenly Matched. We had to do it. There was no real way around playing it like that because we needed the card of Demise. It sucks, but you know it is what it is. We're going to use the Call by the Grave, banishing the Gazelle, and we're going to pass our turn. So we're not in a fantastic position here. Our opponent's got 5 cards. We've got 1. They're going to drop a second Evenly Matched, goddamn, for a Cynet Mining. So Cynet Mining grabbing them their Flame Buffalo as well. These guys probably thinking that he's got this all wrapped up, but our field spell is going to allow us to summon out a token. And basically you can summon these tokens anytime your opponent activates an effect and if you don't already control one, which is pretty dope. And then whenever you summon one, you typically get to search your deck for a spell or a trap card mentioning the field spell, but unfortunately on this occasion we don't. They're going to go for their Bufferlo linking off into the Baylynx. We can only hope they don't have the resources to continue playing to the same extent, and look at that, looks like they're all out. They had to give up an awful lot for their plays, and a lot of hand traps in play as well. Switching our token to attack mode, taking out, well, swinging over the Baylynx, but not quite taking it out. We're going to set a card, and we're going to pass turn back to our opponent here. So suddenly it's not looking so bad. Suddenly it is somewhat evened out here. They're going to normal the Maxi so they can link off into Nightmare Phoenix. Their plan, of course, is to take out the field spell, which they do successfully. But they don't have the power to get over our monster, so we're just going to take our token, we're going to beat this Phoenix's ass. We have the Torrential Tribute in hand, which is very useful, so we are going to bear that in mind. Anytime, if he does get a little bit too crazy, then we can always pop the whole field, and we do have Call by the Grave. Gonna normal summon the Gazelle, Gazelle gonna send Spinny to the graveyard, Spinny trying to resurrect itself. We're gonna hit him with the Call by the Grave here and now. That should put an end to his plays if we are at all lucky. He shouldn't have the ability to extend past that, and with that, I'm pretty sure, yep, he just scoops it up. There you go. Shaky game. Shaky game. That evenly matched right at the beginning hurt so bad. It got rid of like 3 negates, which was disgusting, but we managed to persevere, we managed to play through it, and take the win. Let's get into game 2. Already getting into game 2 here. Now, the Electric Jellyfish is a card that probably not everybody is too happy about being in here, but it serves its purpose, trust me. They're going to go for their Marincess Blue Slug. Now, I'm just going to save us all some time. I'm going to hit fast forward here through this opening turn because Marincess are definitely not in a rush here. They're going to go Sea Angel, grabbing Dave. Going to link off now into the Splash Mage. Splash Mage going to revive back one of their Marincess cards, going into Anemone. I don't know why they Splash Mage in the Anemone. I guess they're just going to do this, which allows them to go straight into the Bubble Reef. So they didn't go into the Coral Triangle, which tells me that they must already sort of have the trap card in their hand, probably. So they skipped over the Coral Triangle step. They're going to set 2, they're going to pass. I can only imagine they already have the trap card, although it's interesting they use this and not the Argonaut. But either way, let's see what we can do here. We have an okay hand. We're going to go Pot of Duality here, showing the top 3 of our deck. We're going to show him the Dimensional Fissure and the Cult by the Grave, which we can grab. We choose Cult by the Grave. Terraforming now, grabbing the Pacifis. Pacifis activating is going to hopefully get some plays going here. Normal summoning the Megalo Smasher, grabbing the Spiral Battle. Now the thing about this is the Marincess trap card has to negate the effect of a monster on the field to activate. We don't have any effect monsters. It has nothing to target, meaning he has no way to protect his Bubble Reef. So we're able to just use the Spiral Battle to completely destroy it. Now the Anemone will trigger here. That's why we grab the Cult by the Grave, so we can stop it from going. We're going to banish the Anemone and negate its effects, which means we're not going to need to worry about it next turn either. Pretty awesome for us. We've got the Electric Jellyfish and the Torrential Tribute. I don't believe we can summon this Jellyfish. Yeah, so we're simply going to swing. Now, the reason the Electric Jellyfish is a little bit controversial in this deck is because you can't summon effect monsters on the turn on which you use any of Pacifis' effects. Which is a bit of a clash. I 100% agree, you can replace this card if you wish. We're going to talk about that when we're doing the deck profile, but it does serve its purpose. We're going to go into Slug once again here. Slug going to grab back a, what is that, a Seahorse from the graveyard. There, that's going to trigger our field spell, summoning out a token, and then when the token is summoned, we get to grab a Spiral Battle. Yet again, we're going to save that for a key target, but for now, we're simply going to wipe the field, clearing out everything, preventing him from doing any further link summoning, but he does have the Marincess Dave from last turn, which is fine. He's going to go for the Blue Tangs effect, triggering off our field spell. We are going to summon yet another token. This is not once per turn. It is any time, as long as you don't control a token, you can summon a token. So that's why we don't really mind the Torrential Tribute. It doesn't really hurt us all that bad. They're going to go into Sea Angel here. Sea Angel is going to activate, grabbing a Marincess spell card. Blue Tang's going to activate her effect as well, grabbing a Marincess card out of the top 3 from the deck. Harpies, Triple Tactics, and got Darla. No Marincess cards for you. They're going to grab another copy of Battle Ocean, which I guess is an insurance policy, and they're going to pass turn back to us. They didn't have a way to extend any further, which is great. We got that Sea Stealth attack, which is only going to bolster us even further. Normal summoning the Electric Jellyfish. Yes, we have to forego then the effects of Pacifis, which would have been really useful, but it is what it is. Now, the little combo here, Sea Stealth attack, will allow you to resummon your Megalo Smasher from the graveyard every battle phase, which means you're guaranteed to be able to proc your field spell, which is pretty awesome. Because the field spell searches a card anytime you summon a normal monster to your field. Now, it didn't work this turn, obviously, because we summoned the Jellyfish, but we now have an Omni Negate that has 0 cost on our field. They go for the Lightning Storm, and it's a damn good thing we summoned the Jellyfish, but unfortunately, he was prepared. Now, the Spiral Battle, I believe, only targets... the Spiral Battle and the Spiral Wave Power can only be used if all your monsters are normal monsters. So, it didn't work out, unfortunately, but we do get to replace our token. Lightning Storm, basically what just happened is he used a Lightning Storm and an Imperm just to get rid of a Jellyfish, which is pretty silly. He's now going to use an Ash Blossom to stop our Pacifist search. You know, that's fine. He doesn't have any monsters left at his disposal, so we don't really care too much about it. Spiral Battle, wiping out one of the back row. It's an Imperm, virtually useless, so we don't really care too much about it. We are going to set a card here, go into the battle phase. Sea Stealth attack is going to attempt to summon the Megalo Smasher from the graveyard, but it is going to get banished. Unfortunately, we don't get to use our Phantasm City search. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're going to instead have to summon the electric jellyfish, which is less than ideal. We're going to just normal summon the one from our hand so we can keep it on the field, which is something at the very least. So we've still got that Omni Negate. If he deals with our field spell, we've got the Metaverse to grant us another field spell. We have Sea Stealth Attack to continue to get searching. So all in all, we are looking pretty good. Now here, I activate this. I don't know why I activated this. It was a bad play. I think at this point we were still sort of clocking the effect of Pacifis. End phase again. Our opponent's just going to sit on this 2k defense, and this is where the deck sort of struggles a little bit. Where if you have the jellyfish, the fact that it turns off your power and your battle really hurts, right? Which is why you may even consider cutting this card from the deck entirely. We went into Cerberus here to hopefully get something on the go. He goes for Max C. The Cerberus, we don't get to use its effect, and I can't remember. Oh, because this card wasn't special summoned, so it's fine. We got those cards off the field. It means now we don't control a token, which means the next time we do summon a token, we can use the Pacifist as well. We've got the Torrential Tribute. So this is one of the cards we were waiting on. This is probably why you don't really want to play the Jellyfish, to be honest with you. But it is the list we were playing. We're going to talk about what you can maybe sub it out for towards the end. I believe our opponent doesn't... Yeah, we're going to go for Fish Sonar, grabbing a Smasher. We're going to summon a Smasher from the deck as well, triggering the field spell, as well as Torrential Tribute. Torrential Tribute wiping out the field, including his 2k wall. And then we're going to be able to summon out a token in just a second. Grabbing the Spiral Paddle, normal summoning the Smasher, swinging directly. He goes for the Call by the Grave, but it's meaningless. It doesn't do anything. He's got nothing. And yeah, there you go. That's game. Bit of a longer one. Wasn't perfectly played. You could definitely see the offset with the Jellyfish, right? The Jellyfish is super useful sometimes, right? That the ability to negate certain cards like Lightning Storms and such is definitely useful on occasion, but it's not doing anything that a Solemn Judgment can't do, right? So we'll talk about that at the end, but we've got one more game we want to jump into. Already getting into our third and final game here, main phase 1, activating the Sea Stealth Attack 2 so we can use our Fish Sonar, grabbing the Smasher and summoning a Smasher. We're going to activate Pot of Prosperity, checking the top 6 of our deck here, see if we can fish out the field spell. There's a Power, Torrential Tribute, both really good. There's the Terraforming. Now we already have Metaverse, so we decided to go for Torrential Tribute here, because Metaverse can grab us the field spell anyway. So we're not too worried about it. Going into the opponent's turn here, they're going to tribute off our Smasher for Ghidorah. Now we're going to use our Metaverse here now, grabbing our field spell, Terraforming, grabbing our opponent's field spell, Toon Kingdom, which was very funny. So we're going to grab a Spiral Token then as well, grabbing us a Spiral Battle. They got the Toon Kingdom on deck. Now the Toon Kingdom is a bit of a problem. They're going to go Hidden Armory, dropping a card to the graveyard to grab themselves a Comic Hand. I can sort of see where they're going with this play. Now they're going to go for Toon Bookmark, grabbing Shadow Toon. Now this is a bit of a combo here. Shadow Toon now is going to inflict 2700 points of damage to us before Comic Hand grabs the Ghidorah. Now Toon Table of Contents is going to grab them Toon Rollback, which allows their Toon Monster to attack twice. Now that's a bit of a problem here. We're going to summon out the Smasher. First of all, activating the Spiral Battle, trying to get rid of the Toon Kingdom. Now that was a small misplay. Not that it mattered, because Bookmark was on the field anyways, so it didn't really matter what we attempted to pop, the Bookmark would have protected it. Now Torrential Tribute, again, is unfortunately not going to be able to destroy the Ghidorah because of the field spell, summoning back a Smasher, but it means nothing in the face of the Ghidorah, and that is game. There you go. Able to take on Marincest, able to take on some of the actual top competitive decks, but then we get our Fade ran by Toons. There you go. I mean, I couldn't play this game and not show it off. You know what I mean? I just had to. So the deck does have a bit of a bad time against cards that can resist destruction, because a lot of the deck's removal is focused around destruction, which, you know, may mean you might want to open up the doors to other form of removal, but we can talk about that in the deck profile. Alrighty, so this is the deck we were using. Now, there are a couple of changes I would like to propose to this deck list, which I'm going to talk about towards the end. First of all, we're playing the free vanilla Megalo Smashers. Basically, this is only here as a water monster that you can sort of summon and recur and everything, which will help trigger off the effect of your field spell, as well as grant you just a little bit more aggression. 2k attack is realistically, the fact that it's 2000 attack and it's a normal monster are the only things we actually care about. and there's nothing else about the card that's notable. Triple Maxi, because Maxi is disgusting. We got the Electric Jellyfish. Now, this card is interesting. You can send Umi from your hand, deck, or face up in your field to the graveyard to special summon a water monster from your hand. Now, the reason you would do that is to put one in your graveyard for your Sea Stealth attack, right? So you can send this card from the deck to the graveyard, your Pacifis, and then you can use your Sea Stealth attack to activate the Pacifis from the graveyard. Now, unfortunately, in our testing, we didn't draw into Sea Stealth attack an awful lot. It's not as consistent to be searched for in this version of the deck as it is the pure Umi control, but definitely running 3 of it is really good. So it is meant to be a little combo there, plus as long as Umi's face up on the field, you get a once per turn Omni Negate with 0 cost. So at the time, this card seemed like an absolutely fantastic deal. The only problem with it is that if you normal summon or special summon an effect monster, you cannot activate the effects of Pacifis the Phantasm City during that turn, before or after. So it did clash with the deck on more than a few occasions, so you might consider cutting this out. We're going to leave it here for now. Terraforming the Search for the Field spell. Card of Demise, basically because you're not doing an awful lot of special summoning, or really any special summoning at all that is notable during your turn, you can postpone all your summoning to your opponent's turn. This will basically allow you to draw up to 3 cards by banishing your hand at the end of the turn. Pot of Duality, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, grab one of them, but you can't special summon that turn. Again, usually not a problem. We've got the Pot of Prosperity, being able to grab a card from the top 6 cards of your deck. Again, just trying to grab as many ways of pulling your combo pieces as you can. You really want to get the field spell up and running. Ideally, you would like to see Sea Stealth Attack or Torrential Tribute. Both of those are really, really super good cards, but there's quite a number of things you would want to hit, and the Prosperity then helps you do so, as does Duality and Card of Demise. We've got Fish Sonar, which under ideal conditions allows you to add not only to your hand but also special summon the Megalo Smasher X from the deck. So you basically special summon one from deck and then add one from deck to hand. So this card is really, really good. Pacifis, of course, is our main field spell. So this has a number of effects. Number 1, if you normal or special summon a normal monster, you can add a Phantasm Spiral card from your deck to your hand. That is your power or your battle. So it searches for power or battle anytime you summon a normal monster, once per turn. Other than that, if your opponent activates a card effect, and if you don't control any tokens, you can special summon a Phantasm Spiral token out to your field. 2000 attack and defense, and it's, more importantly, a normal monster. So anytime your opponent activates an effect, you summon a token. The summoning of the token triggers a search for one of your Phantasm cards, and these cards, so long as you control only normal monsters, can be activated directly from your hand. And as long as you control the field spell as well. So these can be used straight from the hand as well. Really, really, really powerful. That's why we're running the Smasher and everything. This card is definitely awesome. Got Dimensional Fissure. Any monster that would be sent to the graveyard is instead banished. Our deck doesn't really play around with monsters that much. Mainly just the tokens. So this is going to hurt your opponent a lot more than it's going to hurt you. Sea Stealth Attack 2. We're only running one of this. Basically, it becomes Umi, which is important because your cards require you to have Umi on the field. Definitely important. Your opponent can't target any water monsters you control with non-water monsters effects, which makes your tokens a little bit harder to deal with. Not impossible, but it adds an additional layer of protection, so why wouldn't you? During each battle phase, you can special summon from your hand or graveyard a normal water monster, basically, but it gets destroyed during the end of the battle phase. The reason that's good is because you can summon your Megalo Smasher X during the battle phase to trigger off your search, even during a turn in which your opponent doesn't activate any card effects to trigger a token summon. So it just means you're more consistently searching, you're getting a layer of protection. It can be sent to the graveyard off your Jellyfish, reactivated from the graveyard off your Sea Stealth Attack. There's a whole bunch of things and usefulness behind this card. You don't need more than one of it because it's not game breaking, it's not super key to your combos, but it's definitely very strong. Got Double Call by the Grave because of course we do, it's amazing. And Triple Torrential Tribute. You're able to summon your tokens. Your token summoning isn't limited to once per turn, so you can continually summon tokens, which means you're not really going to be suffering as a result of Torrential Tribute at all. And it's such a powerful card. Why wouldn't you play it? You've got the Spiral Battle, which basically allows you to target a card your opponent controls and destroy it, and Spiral Battle allows you to target an effect monster your opponent controls, negate it, and it loses a 1,000 attack and defense. Apologies. It loses a 1,000 attack and defense and gets negated. And both of these are the searchable cards off of your field spell. They can both be activated directly from the hand so long as you control Umi. So they just become really brokenly powerful hand traps, essentially. So yeah, of course, max out 3 of each. You got Metaverse, activates your field spell directly from the deck, so even if you don't draw it into it or you're terraforming or any way of grabbing it, it's basically just one more copy, which is very important. And lastly, we've got the C Stealth Attack. When this card is activated, you're going to activate an Umi from your hand or graveyard. Good thing for recycling your field spell, should your opponent be able to deal with it. Once per turn, you banish a water monster you control, and until the end of that turn, your face-up spells and traps cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. It's just a layer of protection for your field spell, which is awesome. Secondary to that, if any water monster you control whose original level is 5 or higher would battle an opponent's monster, your opponent's monster is automatically destroyed. So non-targeting destruction is amazing, considering your tokens, your Phantasm token, Spiral tokens, are all level 8. So they will meet the condition for the destruction effect of C Stealth Attack. So this card's really, really solid. Adds a lot of protection, adds a lot of destruction. I wish we could play more ways of searching for this, but I don't believe there really is without going into more effect monsters. And if you're going into more effect monsters, you're making your field spell less consistent, and the whole thing gets muddy. So running 3 of it, if you draw it, great. If you don't, you don't. You're just going to have to live with it. Hopefully you hit it off of Prosperity or Duality or something. Admittedly, we didn't hit it very much when we were playing. And that's pretty much it. The extra deck is just cards. Throw in whatever you want. You're not going to use them. If you do end up using your extra deck, you're going to notice that it hurts you more than it helps you. So forget about the extra deck. Just play whatever you want to play. It really doesn't matter. Now, my nose is really itchy. I did mention that there were certain changes I would have in retrospect made. I ideally probably would have cut the Jellyfish. Right? Jellyfish is neat, but I think its usefulness was outweighed by its inability to integrate with the field spell. It caused more problems than it solved. So I would say cut the Jellyfish, and one other card you could consider cutting would be the Dimensional Fissure, because it didn't really do an awful lot in a lot of circumstances. The Attribute 4 event isn't too reliant upon their graveyard compared to the actual core meta. It does serve a purpose, absolutely. There's a lot of decks it completely shuts down, but there's too many decks that it doesn't shut down, right? So if Dimensional Fissure, cards like this are only really worth it if they counter the majority of the meta, and I don't think it does. I just don't think it does, so you can, if you want, you can cut this out as well. I would replace it with protection cards, ideally. If you've got Judgment, throw in some Judgment to replace the Jellyfish. Judgment's really, really solid. Something else you could do, Ace Dragon's Prison is a really solid one. You could run some Imperm is a really solid one. You know, throw in some Ash Blossom, whatever it is. Just start playing some generic cards to help out your deck as best you can. I feel like Imperm and Ash in particular are really good in this event, so I would maybe consider running those instead of the Jellyfish and Dimensional Fissure. But ultimately, the decision is yours, right? You just run whatever you want. This is sort of what I would say my list would end up looking like in retrospect. So if you want to take this, or if you want to try out the original, by all means, it is entirely up to yourself. If you've got this far into the video and you've enjoyed what you're watching and you're not subscribed, and if you haven't liked the video, you might want to fix that. Do me a favor, why not? And just subscribe and like the video if you have got this far. And yeah, with that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.